Good morning, dear students. Today we will take up the first part of chapter 2 of your English textbook, The Sound of Music. So let's start. Part 1. Evelyn-Glennie listens to sounds without hearing it. The prose piece is written by Deborah Cowley. So you see, let us discuss the title first. The title itself is very interesting. Here the author says Evelyn-Glennie listens to sound without hearing it. Now you all wonder, we are confused. How can you listen to sound without hearing it? How can you listen to sound when you can't hear? So this is something we'll discover, that how Evelyn-Glennie was able to listen to sound although she could not hear. Now before we proceed with the chapter, let's discuss. God may have taken her hearing, but He has given her back something extraordinary. What we hear, she feels far more deeply than any of us. That is why she expresses music so beautifully. Now this is what someone commented about Evelyn. So let us start. Let us see what the chapter is all about. Rush hour crowds jostle for position on the underground train platform. A slight girl, looking younger than her 17 years, was nervous yet excited as she felt the vibrations of the approaching train. Now, this scene is from a train platform, underground train platform. As you read, you come across some difficult words. First, let's look for the difficult words. The first one is jostle. Jostle means what? When you push very roughly to get a position, like during puja, when you go out for puja hopping, pendle hopping and all, you have to make ways and all. So, or you must have seen when a train arrives, the kind of crowd we experience there. So, jostle for position and on the underground train platform. So, this scene is of the train platform. It is underground and there is a huge rush at the platform. People are pushing each other to get away. There is a small thin girl. It is Evelyn. Evelyn is standing at the railway platform waiting for the train. And just as she feels the vibrations of the approaching train, she realizes that the train is about to come. She gets nervous and excited. This is the train that will take Evelyn to London. We'll see as we go on with the text. She is going to London to learn music as she has got admission in the Royal Academy of Music. At present, she is in Scotland. Now, Scotland is a country in Europe. You should know that. Life in Scotland is not as fast as in London. London has a very fast life. It is urban, whereas Scotland has farms and countryside. So that is why Evelyn is nervous, because she is leaving Scotland for London. And she is also excited because she is doing something that she always dreamt of. She is going to the Royal Academy of Music to learn music. It was her first day at the prestigious Royal Academy of Music in London, and daunting enough for any teenager fresh from a Scottish farm. That's why the word farm is used. Daunting enough. Daunting here stands for scary or frightening. And teenager, you know, someone who is in his teens, like from the age group 13 to 19. Now Evelyn is 17 years of age. She is a teenager and she is fresh from a Scottish farm. As Evelyn is from Scotland, which has more of farms and countryside, so she has not seen fast life. That is why she is nervous, and the writer says that she is fresh from a Scottish farm. But this aspiring musician faced a bigger challenge than most. She was profoundly deaf. Aspiring means what? One who wishes to. Aspiring musician means one who dreams of becoming a musician, one who wants to be a musician. Profoundly deaf means very deaf or absolutely deaf. Evelyn could not hear. The fact is what? That she could not hear, and this is a bigger challenge for her. Moving from a rural area to a faster life was a smaller challenge. Evelyn faced a much bigger challenge. That was her inability to hear. Evelyn-Glennie's loss of hearing had been gradual. Gradual means it's in phases. Slowly she started losing the power of hearing, and one day she was absolutely deaf. Her mother remembers noticing something was wrong when the 8-year-old Evelyn was waiting to play the piano. They called her name and she did not move. I suddenly realized she hadn't heard, says Isabel-Glennie. Isabel-Glennie is the name of Evelyn's mother. Evelyn's mother, Isabel, remembers one incident when Evelyn was 8 years old. She says that Evelyn was waiting for her turn to play the piano when her name was called out. She did not respond, and her mother realized that Evelyn Evelyn did not respond to her name. That means she did not hear her name being called out. For quite a while, Evelyn managed to conceal, means hide, her growing deafness from friends and teachers. Conceal means to hide. So what we find here, as Evelyn lost her sense of hearing in phases, it was a gradual process. In the beginning, when she could hear partially, she managed to hide this disability from her friends and teachers. But by the time she was 11, her marks had deteriorated. Her headmistress urged her parents to take her to a specialist. Specialist means what? Like a doctor who's specializing in a particular part of the body. And deteriorated means to get worse or worsen or reduce. Urged means requested here. So we find here that when Evelyn was 11 years old, her marks had started deteriorating. The headmistress so requested her parents to take Evelyn to the doctor. It was then discovered that her hearing was severely impaired as a result of gradual nerve damage. Impaired means to become weaker with time. When the doctor checked upon Evelyn, he found out that Evelyn had lost the sense of hearing. So they were advised that she should be fitted with hearing aids and sent to a school for the deaf. So we find that the doctor advised Evelyn's parents that they should get hearing aids for her. So hearing aid means what? It's an equipment that is fitted into someone's ear and it helps that person to hear to some extent. And so the doctor also suggested that Evelyn should be sent to school for the deaf children. Everything suddenly looked back, says Evelyn. So when Evelyn discovered that she could not hear and that she would be sent to a school for the deaf children, that she was not as good as normal children, her world became colorless. It turned black. But Evelyn was not going to give up. So that shows her determination. She was determined to lead a normal life and pursue her interest in music. Pursue means to follow, to continue. So we find as Evelyn was passionate about music, this news also did not break her. She was determined to live life like normal people and follow her interest in music. Now, some more incidents described here. One day, she noticed a girl playing a xylophone and decided that she wanted to play it too. So what do we find here? That in this case, okay, so let's continue with the next line also. Most of the teachers discouraged her, but percussionist Ron Forbes spotted her potential. Now, when we use the term percussionist, it means a person who plays the drum, the tabla, etc. A person who plays different musical instruments. So what we find here, the previous line, that when Evelyn saw a girl playing the xylophone, remember the pronunciation, xylophone. You can pronounce it with me, xylophone. She wanted to play it too. And on hearing now a deaf girl trying to play a musical instrument where you need the ears most, it's like a daunting task, challenging, very challenging. But Evelyn was, she was there to accept it, although most of the teachers discouraged her. But percussionist Ron Forbes spotted her strength. So all of them know, in fact all the teachers, discouraged her. On the other side, our percussionist Ron Forbes saw that Evelyn was very passionate about music and had the potence of it or power of it. You can say she had a grip over it. She could do it. So he decided something. He began by tuning two large drums to different notes. Ron Forbes thought that he would teach Evelyn to feel music. He took two large drums and he turned them to different notes. Drums are like musical instruments, and he tuned them. He tuned each drum to different notes, so the sound produced by the drums was different. So it was distinct. Both the drums made different sounds. Then he told Evelyn, "Don't listen through your ears," he would say. "Try to sense it some other way." He said, it's an instruction, a clear instruction that helped Evelyn depend on other organs instead of ears. And so what was done, he said that don't try to listen through your ears. He said that try to sense it, try to feel the music some other way. Says Evelyn, "Suddenly I realized I could feel the higher drum from the waist up and the lower one from the waist down." Now, the middle of your body is called waist. Now, as Ron Forbes had tuned both the drums to different notes, the upper part of Evelyn's body above the waist could feel the higher notes of the drum, and the lower part of her body, the part down from the waist, could feel the lower notes of the drum. Forbes repeated the exercise, and soon Evelyn discovered that she could sense certain notes in different parts of her body. This is how Evelyn can listen to sound although she cannot hear. She can sense different notes in different parts of the body. I had learned to open my mind and body to sounds and vibrations. The rest was sheer determination and hard work. So this way, Ron Forbes taught Evelyn to respond to different sounds. Different parts of Evelyn's body responded to different sounds, and that is how she could identify the sounds and the different vibrations. Now, once she could identify the sounds and vibrations, the hurdle had been overcome, and Evelyn's career went upward. As she had determination to become famous, a good musician, and she also did a lot of hard work. She never looked back from that point onwards. So we find what? Once Evelyn overcame the hurdle, she started sensing the different sounds through the different parts of her body. She progressed in her career. She toured the United Kingdom with a youth orchestra, and by the time she was 16, she had decided to make music her life. Youth means what? A group of young people. People who in college or high school days, An orchestra means a group of musicians. So we find here that Evelyn toured the United Kingdom and performed with a youth orchestra. By the time Evelyn reached the age of 16 years, she had decided to make music her life. She auctioned for the Royal Academy of Music and scored one of the highest marks in the history of the Academy. Auditioned. Here is the word auditioned. She auditioned. Audition, all of you are acquainted with the term audition. Okay, it's like giving a short performance so that the director or the managing people and others could decide whether you are good enough to be selected or not. Okay, so Evelyn gave an audition for the admission to the Royal Academy of Music, and her score was the highest in the history of the Academy. No other person had scored such a high score as Evelyn did. She gradually moved from orchestral work to solo performances. Orchestral means when you perform in a group performance, and solo means when you perform as one, single, alone and all. So initially Evelyn performed in the group, and then we find that as she grew up, she became a solo performer. At the end of her 3-year course, she had captured most of the top awards. She had achieved all top awards by the time she had completed her 3-year course at the Royal Academy of Music. And for all these, Evelyn won't accept any hint of heroic achievement. If anyone says that Evelyn has done something great and all, she does not acknowledge that. She is very humble and down to earth. Evelyn says that two important things for success are, firstly, now what is said, you see, very important here, the very next line also. If you work hard and know where you are going, if you work hard and know where you are going, you will get there. So you see, two things are talked about. One is hard work, and the other one is aim. It's actually a you can say a lesson for life. You can apply it to your life also. It's very simple. Like if you work hard, and if you are determined, if you set your goal, and you just stick to that, undoubtedly you will achieve it. And she says that if you work hard and you have an aim, a target which you have to achieve, then you will definitely achieve it. And she got right to the top. The world's most sought after multi-percussionist, with a mastery over some 1,000 instruments and hectic international schedule. Now, most sought after means what? Most popular, in demand. So Evelyn has also achieved her goal. She worked hard and she had an aim to achieve the topmost, the most famous, the most sought after musician of the world, and she did that. She gained mastery of almost 1,000 musical instruments, and she is the most popular multi-percussionist of the world. She has a very busy schedule. She has programs and concerts all over the world. It is intriguing to watch Evelyn functions so effortlessly without hearing. Intriguing means it's become very attractive, fascinating, and curious. So when you watch Evelyn work or perform so effortlessly, although she cannot hear, you can get very curious because Evelyn can identify the slightest, the minutest sound by the musical instruments. In our 2-hour discussion, she never missed a word. Now, for the first time, we see the writer comes up with a personal reference. Clear that he took an interview of Evelyn which lasted for 2 hours, and here he says that Evelyn never missed a single word that she spoke. Now what do we find here? You see, men with bushy beards give me trouble. She laughed. Evelyn says that she can hear others and all, but here means what? She can observe. By reading the lips she can respond, she can understand and respond. Evelyn says that those men who have long, huge, bushy beards give her trouble. Why do they give her trouble? Because when they speak, she cannot see their lip movement as their lips are covered with bushy beards. It is not just watching the lips, it's the whole face, especially the eyes. Evelyn says that she does not only see the lip movement of the person's face to make out what the person is speaking, she sees the whole face. That means the entire expression of the face of the speaker. That means the entire expression the face of the speaker makes Evelyn identify or know what the person is saying. She adds the expression of the eyes. She adds that the expression of the eyes helps Evelyn makes out what the person's sitting in front of her is saying. She speaks flawlessly with a Scottish lilt. Flawlessly means without any mistake. And lilt means the way you speak, accent. The writer says that Evelyn's speech is flawless, without any mistake, and she has Scottish accent in it. My speech is clear because I could hear till I was 11, she says. Evelyn says that she can speak clearly because she had learned the language when she was just 11. So by that time one learns how to speak. She studied till the age of 11 and till the time she could hear. But that doesn't explain how she managed to learn French and master basic Japanese, although it's okay for her mother tongue. But what about the new languages that she learned after she became deaf? She learned French and basic Japanese too, and that's very wonderful, undoubtedly. As for music, she explains, it pours in through every part of my body. It tingles in the skin, my cheekbones, and even in my hair. So here Evelyn explains how she identifies music. It creates a sensation in her skin, in her cheekbones, and even in her hair. So Evelyn's body responds to music. When she plays the xylophone, she can sense the sound passing up the stick into her fingertips. So when she plays it, we find what? She uses sticks and she can sense the vibration of the sound produced by the xylophone pass through the sticks up into her fingertips. By leaning against the drums, she can feel the resonances flowing into her body. Resonances means echoes of sounds. When Evelyn plays the drum, she leans towards the drum and she can feel the echo flowing into her body. On a wooden platform, she removes her shoes so that the vibrations pass through her bare feet and up her legs. When Evelyn performs, she performs on a wooden platform and she removes her shoes so that she can feel the vibration of the musical instruments pass through the floor into her feet and up her legs. This is how she can feel the sound of the musical instruments. Not surprisingly, Evelyn delights her audiences. In 1991, she was presented with the Royal Philharmonic Society's prestigious Soloist of the Year award. Now, Evelyn is actually so famous that she is a delight to hear. She gives very good solo performances. In the year 1991, she was presented with this award, Royal Philharmonic Society's prestigious Soloist of the Year award for performing solo. Says master percussionist James Blades, God may have taken her hearing, but he has given her back something extraordinary. What we hear, she feels far more deeply than any of us. That is why she expresses music so beautifully. Now, James Blades is a master percussionist, and his words are the ones that we read before we started reading the chapter. According to James, God took away Evelyn's hearing ability, but in return, he gave her a strong power of sensing sounds, which enabled her to become a great musician. Evelyn confesses that she is something of a workaholic. Workaholic is an informal reference. It means a person who finds it difficult to stop working. Evelyn is very hardworking. She does not stop working. That's the meaning. I have just got to work, often harder than classical musicians. Now, to be at par with those people who can hear, who are classical musicians, Evelyn works very hard. But the rewards are enormous. Enormous means huge or big. Evelyn says that the rewards she gets for her hard work are huge and big. Apart from the regular concerts, Evelyn also gives free concerts in prisons and hospitals. Evelyn does charity also, She gives free concerts in hospitals and prisons. She also gives high priority to classes for young musicians. She also takes classes for young musicians for those children who want to learn. Untitled of the Beethoven Fund for Deaf Children says, she is a shining inspiration for deaf children. They see that there is nowhere they cannot go. So we find Evelyn is an inspiration for all. She is an ideal, a role model. Untitled, who belongs to the Beethoven Fund for Deaf Children, says that Evelyn is an inspiration for those children who cannot hear. And when they get to know Evelyn's story, they feel that Evelyn can accomplish everything. They can fulfill all their dreams. And as Evelyn has already achieved, Glenny has already accomplished more than most people twice her age. Accomplishing means achieving. So we find where the Evelyn-Glennie has achieved so much in life that those people who are double her age have also not achieved those many things. That much popularity or those many awards as Evelyn has achieved. She has brought percussion to the front of the orchestra and demonstrated that it can be very moving. Now we know the meaning of orchestra, so she has brought it to the front. Normally the percussion, the musical instruments and all, they are placed behind the performer, the singer, but she did what? She brought it to the front, that it can be also very moving, very interesting on itself. So what it said? Now what is it? She has given inspiration to those who are handicapped. People who look at her and say, if she can do it, I can. And not the least, she has given enormous pleasure to millions. Evelyn's story is an inspiration to those people who are physically disabled. They feel that if Evelyn can achieve her dreams, even they can. And Evelyn has given a lot of pleasure to her audience by playing such good music. That's all. I hope you have understood the story. I want you to read it thoroughly and consult. If you have any query, you are at liberty to contact me. If you have any question, I'm there to help you. Thank you.